I thought I'd start this second video to talk about the geographic area where I am currently living, um, which I could roughly describe as West Tokyo. And sometimes people have asked me in the past, why did you choose West Tokyo? 西東京、なぜ西東京なのか? People have often asked me. And honestly speaking, I've lived on this side of Tokyo for most of the time that I have been here. Initially, for a couple of months, right at the beginning, I did live up in Saitama in a place called Minami Urawa, which was a typical bed town, but a bit of a trek from central Tokyo on the Keihin Tohoku line, crossing a large river and then going into Saitama Prefecture. It was okay, but I think the pull or the attraction of wanting to live somewhere more central was very strong, especially at the beginning. So when you first come to Japan, you sort of think, yeah, I've got to live in Shibuya, or I've got to live in Azabu, I've got to live in Harajuku, and you get sort of almost hijacked by the thought of living in those more central, more trendy, more happening, or what you may think more happening places at the time. So that pull was there, but after moving from Saitama, I found myself in Suginamiku, which is one of the wards west of Central, very close to a place called Kichijoji, by train into Shinjuku, maybe 25 minutes or so. And I stayed there for 3.5, nearly 4 years, in a very small apartment, very Showa period apartment building, tatami flooring, squat toilet, bathroom in the garden, very basic living conditions. But honestly speaking, I really loved it. I really loved that sort of sense of community in a local neighborhood, seeing the kids go to school at the local schools, having several good supermarkets within easy walking distance of the home. And I think at that time I started to fall in love with the idea of living in West Tokyo. Now, later, due to the preferences of my life partner at the time, who was working in a very fashion-centric industry, she was very intent on living smack bang in the middle of what she believed to be where everything is happening. And that turned out to be about a 10-minute walk from Harajuku Station. So in terms of convenience, in terms of spending time at the weekend, Omotesando was very close by, Yogi Park was very close by. It was convenient. However, in terms of basic living, we didn't have a supermarket within walking distance. To go to the supermarket, you had to take a taxi for about 10 minutes to an area called Gaenmai before you could come to your first supermarket. So we did stay there for about a year and a half, and it was okay, but the pull of West Tokyo was always there. Eventually, later, I found myself 2 stations down from Kichijoji on the Chuo line. And later, I did actually live in Kichijoji for a couple of years in a very small apartment. But eventually meeting my Chinese wife in Hong Kong and getting married, the apartment in Kichijoji was just way, way too small. And very quickly we realized that my wife was pregnant, so we needed to find another place. So looked around in Kichijoji, very expensive, one of the most popular places to live in Tokyo. Couldn't really find anything in our budget. Tried the next station down, same problem. Next station down, very similar problem. Then finally, 4 stops down, we were able to find an apartment that would be big enough for 2 adults and a child, and about 10 minutes walk from the station. So first child started to go to a local kindergarten when they came of age. Very quickly, child number 2 was on the way, and they sort of followed in the same footsteps to the same kindergarten. And then later moving on to elementary school. In our area, we have several reputable schools. So a lot of families will move into this area purely to get their kids into the catchment area for those schools. So that's what we did. A couple of years later, child number 3 arrived. So the apartment was just, for 5 people, it was just simply too small. Although it was very clean and very convenient. So we started to look around to see if we could buy a property. We looked at apartments, mansions, which all seemed to be quite pricey. We then moved on to a popular topic on social media at the moment is the akia, or abandoned or empty houses. And there were some in our area, but it was just too difficult to get any type of mortgage on that type of older property. The banks didn't want to touch it at all. And eventually, through looking on the internet and partnering with a couple of real estate agents, we found our current house, which is, in Japanese terminology, a 3LDK. So 3 bedrooms, a living room, a dining room, and a kitchen. We have a small parking space, which is probably good enough for a kei jidosha. But honestly speaking, living in this part of Tokyo, we really have no need for a car. All of our transportation around the local area is either by bus or by bicycle. So the house was practically brand new when we bought it. I think it had been built maybe 5 months before. And for a certain reason, which maybe I'll go into in another video, it was not selling. And the price had dropped by more than 1 million yen over those 4 or 5 months after it was initially built. That reason why maybe local people were not interested in buying the property didn't really mean anything big to me. It was the type of reason that you would see in a UK house from time to time. So went through all of the paperwork. Working with a real estate agent was very, very helpful. Marvelous young lady, Miyamori-san, if you're listening. And I think Miyamori-san took a bit of a shine to my kids and decided that she wanted to help us as much as she could. So went through all of the paperwork, obtained the mortgage, moved in, and that's where we still find ourselves now. So I'm not going to be moving anywhere from this house. This is probably going to be our house for the foreseeable future. We will always stay here. As far as the kids' schooling goes, we're in the same area, so they only need to walk between 5 to 7 minutes. One to go to elementary school and the other one to go to the local high school. The eldest daughter now, she's in her mid-teens, so she does have to take a train for 15 to 20 minutes to go to her senior high school, which is a little bit more in the direction of Tokyo. But she was very fortunate to get into a national school run by Tokyo City. So the cost is not as it would be with a private school. And the other kids are both going to national schools as well. So that's basically West Tokyo. We have so many things here. We have 3 big parks within cycling distance. We have Tamareien, which is a very, very big, very old, beautiful cemetery, which is an interesting place to walk around, with also some very famous figures. whose graves are there, including Mishima Yukio, which I will talk about on a later date. So this is a very Hanami rich area. So we have cherry trees within 2 minutes from the home, 5 minutes walk into the closest big park that has an orchard of ume, so plum trees that blossom in the spring, and also a very big sakura Hanami area, which is very popular with local people. It's not a tourist attraction like maybe Ueno Park would be. It's a very, very local type of affair that's very popular with the people in our area. So that's all for today's video. I'll be coming back again soon on another maybe slightly related topic. So thank you very much for listening, and bye for now. See you in the next one.